on my way to the Maserati dealership. Question of the day is paying cash. Paying cash for Maserati or any car for that matter. Let me make sure you guys can actually hear me because, yeah, I don't think I have it. So I'll just switch over. Make sure you guys can hear me. So, this is the way I look at it. First of all, number one, in terms of the topic is purchasing cars. First of all, a car is not an investment. I mean, it can be an investment. There's certain specialty cars that can increase in value. For example, a Lamborghini Aventador, when that first came out, it was firstly it was highly anticipated, and a lot of people were excited about it. And the minute it was being sold, there was a extreme demand for it. And as such, if you would have purchased the original models for sale, you could have made, I forgot the figures that the dealers told me, but you could have made easily 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, maybe even more than that in just a year. So imagine purchasing a vehicle and basically making $30,000 buying it. Probably, again, could even be much more than that. But basically, they were selling for over sticker for quite some time, right? So again, if you were one of the original ones to purchase it, maybe pre-ordered it so you get the MSRP price on it, you could have made significant money. There's so many people who do that, and the people they get sort of challenged because people look at them and say, you have this beautiful car, you're not driving it. But people drive these cars for different reasons. You have car enthusiasts like myself who would look at a car like that because I have the passion for it. But that's not to say I wouldn't look at doing an investment as well. But I am a car enthusiast, so I have a lot of other reasons to purchase a vehicle like that. But there are people who purchase them strictly as investments, so they're not going to drive them just sitting. And people may look at that negatively, but this is for them an investment instrument. But that's an extreme case. We're talking about a $400,000 vehicle. Typically, a car, whether it's a Mustang, whether it's a Mercedes-Benz, it's not an investment. It's a depreciating asset. The minute you drive it off the lot, you're a lot of money really quickly. So with that being said, a couple of rules that I recommend. Number one, again, cars are not investments, they're depreciating assets. So think of them as such. So if you're trying to build yourself up, you're really young, you just get your first job, you're getting some money, stay far away from these high performance vehicles. I mean, if you can find something, speaking of, here's a BMW dealership. Stay far away from these high performance vehicles. Bad. Not only, again, the money you lose right off the lot, but also any maintenance costs, anything breaks on it. That's not what you want to do. First thing you want to do is you want to look at getting yourself real estate, right? Get your house first, then your car. Now, everybody's situation is not the same. You may be in a market where it may not be advantageous to buy. Renting might be the way to go. Let's say you're in a place where renting is much cheaper than buying. Then the way you look at it is you can save a lot of money in the bank, right? People say, oh, but get a house, you're building up equity in a house. You can build up equity in your bank account, right? If you can spend $400 less per month by renting instead of owning, then that's $400 more. That $400 per month, you can put that in the bank and save it up. Right now, I am about to open up a high interest account, which is going to earn me 2% interest. I don't have to do anything, no risk, pretty much. It's insured up to $250,000. All I do is I set up an allotment automatically. Every time I get paid, some of the money goes directly into that bank account, and it earns 2% interest just like that. Nice and easy, right? So if you're putting $400 a month into a high interest account like that, then look at that the same way as someone who has a house and they're paying that mortgage and they're building. Not quite sure what happened there, but anyway. So basically, I'll simplify it. Look at it this way. Look at it as, let's say you save up over a period of time. There's Tesla. I will be looking at one of those as well. Let's say over a period of time, you save up $100,000 in your bank account, and it's a 2% interest account. So you have $100,000 earning 2%, right? Now compare that to buying a house, and over a period of time, you've basically put $100,000 into the house. So the house has $100,000 worth of equity. Now, here's a key difference between the two, and why you have to look at a house not necessarily as an investment. The $100,000 that you saved in your savings account earning 2% interest didn't cost you anything, ideally. The house will be costing you a significant amount of money. You have to pay taxes, you have repair costs, and interest on the loan, right? So there's a lot of costs associated with owning a home. And as such, that is why it sort of disqualifies itself from being an investment normally. Now, just because it has cost doesn't mean that it's not an investment. There's some investments that may have costs associated with them, but ideally, you want the gains to exceed the costs, right? So, if it's costing me, $500 per month, but I'm earning $1,000 per month, and I'm profiting $500, right? So that is something that you could look at as, okay, ideally, again, investment, you wouldn't really want to have too many costs associated with it. But I mean, if I'm making $500 on it, it's net $500, that's respectable. So the thing is, buying a house and fixing it up is one of the ways to make it an investment. Buying in down, just like with stocks, when the market is down, you have a $400,000 house. It's worth $400,000. It's now selling for, $250,000 because the market is in a bad shape, and then holding it until the market recovers and then flipping it. However, typically people don't just jump from house to house like that. Even that doesn't normally. The idea of buying it at the perfect time, your money is perfectly the right time when the market is down, and you're able to just jump out of a house based on the market recovering, right? It could be a year to recover, 2 years to recover, 3 years to recover. Whenever it happens, you're aggressive. Look at the purchase of a house as an investment, right? Typically, people don't look at it that way. They just this is a good thing to do. I'm going to buy a house. I should have a house. Having a house is a good thing to do, and they do it. And in back of their mind, it's like an investment thing. But they're not sitting there strategically and like waiting for the perfect market conditions to buy. And then as soon as the market bumps up, they're like, oh, I'm out. Like, they don't look at it as a trader, right? That's not how typically people buy houses. So for that very reason alone, a house is typically not an investment. I don't want to say it's not an investment at all. Let's just say it's not as much of an investment as most people think it is. For many people, it might not be a good investment at all, because they could actually be at a loss, right? Price of the house goes down, and then when you account for the money they put into the house, repairs, interest, all that kind of stuff, could be a bad deal, right? Anyway, to cars. The way I look at it, I don't believe in leasing, right? You don't want to be on that side of the equation. You don't want to be making someone else rich. You want to make yourself rich. When you're renting, when you're leasing, you're making someone else rich, right? You're putting all that money in somebody else's pocket and letting them accrue something. What are you accruing? Nothing, right? Every month you pay, all you're getting out of it is the privilege of being able to possess or to control whatever the asset is, right? So to live in a place for another month because you paid for another month in your lease, right? You're able to drive a car for another month because you. Not really sure where we disconnected, but I was saying, ideally you want to purchase a vehicle at the 5 year point where most of the depreciation already has occurred. Let somebody else take the losses, not you. Purchase, you want something sporty, you get an Infinity, you get a Nissan 370Z, you get Lexus, something like that. You get the Japanese reliability, lower cost, and just basically a better financial thing to do, especially when you're younger. When you get older, you're doing well, you got money saved up, then you can have fun. But initially, priority should be on owning a home and avoiding wasting a lot of your money. So you want to German vehicles and fancy cars and stuff like that. You want Japanese reliability, cars that are efficient, low maintenance, right? And ideally, perfect scenario, you want to run them to the ground, right? You want to get to the point where you fully own the vehicle. That's an ideal thing, especially as a young person, to where the car has a very, very low cost own, right? You're paying insurance, right? And right vehicles, insurance is low. Even if you're young, right kind of vehicles that aren't high insurance rates, you get that. So insurance is low. You get an efficient car, gas is low, right? You get a reliable Japanese car, maintenance is low, right? And you get quickly to the point where you own it. You get the right price, own it pretty quickly. So there's no car note, right? So you're able to save up more aggressively than your colleagues, your friends, right? While they're dumping a bunch of money into cars they really can't afford, BMW, whatever. You have a Lexus that you own and doesn't cost you much to keep, right? When you get to the point of later on in life, when I get something like a Maserati, like we're looking at now, Ferrari, and all these nice cars, really, what the quote big dogs are doing is they're buying cash, right? They're not financing vehicles like that, right? Because financing is going to cost you. So you finance $100,000 car. At the end of, depending on the terms, I mean, what are you paying? $100,000 car, you pay 150, 160, 170. You're throwing that money away. What are you getting for that money, right? An extra 20 grand, 30 grand for what, right? So what you do is you buy something you can afford, you can pay cash for, or you do like what I do is, so I'll do one or two things. I'll either pay cash, or I will make a huge deposit to where the payments are low. Like the first Porsche that I had, I was paying less than probably the average person with a Camry because I put down so much money. When I went to the dealership with all that cash, the dealer looked at me like, he was like, well, wasn't used to it, because people normally buy things they can't afford. So they come in, they want to get cars with zero down, right? And then they throw away this Alfa Romeo. They throw away this Porsche. Speak of the devil. They throw away all that money for what, right? And this adds up over time if you keep doing things like this. Anyway, we are probably ready soon, so I will try to record as much as I can for you guys. And there we go. Until next time.